Okay, so good afternoon everyone. Now we're done with the four types of variations. I hope clear na sa inyo. Kung sa nato maingon nga na direct variation, inverse variation, joint variation, and combined variation. No, so na ako video the other day about joint variation and combined variation and how to find for the constant of variation and even the equation of the variation. Okay, so now let's solve problems involving joint variation and combined variation. But before that, mag-review sa ta, when you say joint variation, the statement A varies jointly as B and C means A is equal to KBC, or the constant of variation K is equal to A over BC. And for the combined variation, dalawa na to. We have joint variation or inverse variation, or we can have direct variation and inverse variation. So the statement T varies directly as X. In this statement pa lang, no? In this statement pa lang, it uh, emphasize a direct variation, and then this statement is an inverse variation. So automatically na-combine yung dalawang variations natin, which is direct and the inverse. So we have this rule, t is equal to kx over y, and to get the constant of variation, we can have t times y over x, where k is the constant of variation. So, naghatag ko example when example of a real-life scenario in which magamit si joint variation, and another example for combined variation. Now, let's have this example. Solve the following questions. The amount of gasoline used by a car varies jointly as the distance traveled and the square root of the speed. Suppose a car used 25 liters on a 100-kilometer trip at 100 km per hour. About how many liters will it use on a 192-kilometer trip at 64 km per hour? First and foremost, pag mag-solve og word problems, mo establish siya ta atong equation sa atoang variation no, or unsa siya nga variation. Since naa na tay hint na varies jointly, so therefore this is a joint variation. So ang amount of gasoline used by a car, kung wala siya giingon na variable, so you can make use of your own variable. So for example, ang amount of gasoline used by a car, a letter A na ko ni siya, no? A stands for the amount of gasoline used by a car. And then ang distance traveled, letter D ko ni, and then the square root of the speed, no, square root of the speed. So ang speed i-represent na ko as S. So based on the relation kay varies jointly na ko A, which is the amount of gasoline, is equal to K, now always natay constant of variation, multiplied to the distance traveled and the square root of the speed. So we have the square root of the speed. Yan na siya. Now, first, first process. Nakahimo naman ta ani, ang second process nato is to solve for the K. So, if we're going to recall, we have K is equal to A, no, over D times the square root of S. Nanatay ka na. So, the next one is to solve for K. So, nakoy K equals, pila atong A there. So, natay give a complete na statement na with A, D, and S. Natay. Suppose a car daw use 25 liters, pila ang amount of gasoline na use, which is letter A, 25. So, we have, sige, ayaw na lang sa ninyo ka na. So, na ako'y A, diri nga, wait sa ha, ato ni siya i-erase. No, pwede rin. So, ato sa siya i-clarify na ako'y A nga. For the second statement, ang A is 25. Ang A, diba, stands for the amount of gasoline used. So, na 25 ka liters na use. Pila ka ang D na atay pila ka distance. Ang distance is 100. Atay 100 na distance. And then, pila ka ang atong speed. Ang speed is the 100 km per hour. So, by using this information, makuha na nato si K. So, balik to diri. Pila ang A nato natay 25 over pila ang D natay 100 times pila ato ang S. Di ba naka-square root man ato ang gamit? Kay square root man siya. Ang S is 100. So, that is the square root of 100. Sorry kayo sa ako ang sinulatan. Sige na. Basta 25 over 100 times the square root of 100. So, I have here K equals 25 over square root of 100 muna tayo. Square root of 100 is 10 times 100. That is 1,000. Tama ba? Na ako'y 25 over 1,000. And 25 over 1,000, that gives us 0. Pila. Natay 0.025. Okay, so you can make use of the fraction form or decimal diri nga part since na may exact value ang 25 over 1,000. No? Na natay K. The next part is, ang ikatulo na part nato, kay we're going to put the K sa atong number 1 nga equation. So, naatay A equals pila ang K gali? 0.025. Lainay naman yan. Tama, gidre. Wait, sa atos na try. Hindi ko makontrol na. So, we have 0.025 times D times the square root of, no? So, ang next question is about how many liters, so saan nagipangita, si A, D, or S, how many liters will use on a 192 kilometer trip at 64 km per hour. So, ang 192 km stands for the distance, no? Our 192 km is the distance traveled where as our 64 km per hour is our speed. So, sige pangita, we need to find for the amount of gasoline, and that stands for letter A. No? For the next process, nabutang na kong processing dira, pero pwede naman di mabutang process. So, ato na i-plug in. So, na ko A equals 0.025 multiplied to 192 times the square root of 64. Okay, so now na ko D equals, not D, it's A naman. Okay, so now natay A equals pwede rin ninyo i-edit na, i-times na, pero para mas makita ninyo ang process, pwede na ninyo i-times it. So, 0.25 times 192 times square root of 64. So, ako lang, mas gusto ko mauna sa ni square root of 64. Kaya square root of 64, that is 8. Kaya 8 times 8, that gives us 64. So, by simplifying, i-multiply na ninyo. We have 0.025 times 192 times 8. And that gives us pila. Yes, it gives us 38.4 point 4 liters of gasoline. Naatay 0.4 liter. So we have here the answer of our number 1 question. Check if tama ba? 0.025 times 192 times 64 times 8. That gives us 38.4 liters. Okay, question. Sige, mga tana. The next question, let's have this one. The area of a triangle varies jointly, kanina yung mga hint ha, as the base and the height. A triangle with base of 8 and height of 9 has an area of 36. Find the area when the base is 10 and the height is 7. No, so first and foremost, if mo deal mo problem solving like this in variation, dapat kabalo mo og unsa ba siya. Direct variation, inverse variation, joint variation, or combined variation. As in this case, for the first sentence, that is joint variation. Now, diri ingon niya, area of a triangle varies jointly as the base and the height. Kung siya na ingon og mga letters na, so we represent this area, kami bahala. Pwede X, pwede Y. As for me, pwede ko na represent as letter A, na big letter A. Varies jointly as the B. Ang base na to, pwede represent as B, and the height represent as H. No? So, we can make use of the equation, or we translate this one into mathematical sentence na ang area daw, ang area sa triangle, nag-represent na ko as A, varies jointly, so K, as the base, which should be atong representation, and the height. Okay? Next process is we solve for K. So, kailangan tayo given a complete information na ang triangle daw with base 8 and a height of 9 has an area of 36 square centimeters. So, based on that, pila daw atong area? Na atay area nga 36 square centimeters with our base na 8 and then with our height nga 9. Yes, with our height nga 9. Good. Okay? So, to find for the K, actually, pwede rin ninyo i-judge na no. So, na ako'y K. Pwede po ito mapakitaan nga nung ingana siya. Sige, ato na ipakita. Para makuha si K, unsa ako i-divide diri para K nalay bilin sa pikas. Kani. Diba? Si B o si H. No? So, cancel out na na siya. Nag-divide ko diri, mag-divide po ko diri sa atong pikas na 5 para balance ang equation. So, na kay K diri, pwede ko na i-rewrite as K equals, kung sige equals ni K, natay A over BH. Na, muna yung pag-derive sa formula, no? So, in other words, we have K is equal to A over BH. Now, we solve for K na dayon. Ang K is equal to A over BH. Pila itong A? Yes, naayatay A nga 36 over, pila tong B? Natay 8 times 9. Natay 8 times 9. So, we solve na then for this. Natay K equals 36 over 8 times 9. That is, yes, that is 72. Now, okay, so naatay, malowest term pa nato, di ba ni, by 1/2, or pwede na po, o gusto mo mag decimal points, you can make use of the 0.5. Katong ako ngayon sa inyo nga, ayaw pag-use of decimal points, that is applicable if ang inyong fraction form kay non-terminating. When you say non-terminating, walay kahumanan. For example, 1/3. Ang 1/3 is 0.33333 infinity. No? So, mas maayo nga ipabilin as fraction lang siya. Kana pong mga kanang dili gid nato siya ma-represent as exact number of decimal points, automatically will use the fraction form. kaning 1/2, that is just equal to 0.5. So we can make use of 0.5 or 1/2. Okay? So nanatay na solve na k. So balik ta sa original equation, I mean mathematical sentence nga a is equal to k times b times h. Pila gali atong value sa k? So natay k nga 0.5 times the b times the h. So natay area is equal to kana na. Sige. No? So ang this third question is find the area when the base is pila 10 and the height is 7. So the area is equal to copy naman ang area niya. Kay area magigipangita. So ipuli na ninyo ang given information. Kasi given information si base nga 10 and then si height nga 7. Okay, so we have here the area is equal to pila. We have 30, 70, 35 square centimeter. So, i-check lang na to. Basig na wrong silang 10 times 7 times 0.5. Yes, that is 35 square centimeter. Okay, so naatay final answer na area which is equivalent to 35 square centimeter. Question? By question? Sige, let's proceed to another example. Now let's have another question. The force of attraction, which represented as F, varies directly as its mass m and inversely as the square of the distance from the body. Okay, so first and foremost, question 9 ng kaugalingon. What is the type of variation being represented by our problem? Is it direct variation, inverse variation, combined variation, or joint variation? Tanawa ang iyang hint na as siya varies directly at the same time mo inverse siya. So, combined ang atong direct variation and inverse variation. So, that is, yes, that is our combined variation. That is combined variation. So, kay combined variation, so we'll make a mathematical sentence about this one. So, ang force of attraction mo ginay first mo una varies directly daw. So, copy ka sa K. Gamay na ang K ha. As its mass, so K times katong varies directly hand which is M. And then, kaniingon na siya inversely as the square, it means i-divide na to ni sa square of the distance. So, naatay distance D, kaniingon siya nga square of the distance daw. So, that is the square of the distance, no? So, next we're going to find for the k. So, in order to find for the k, ato na siya i-multiply now both sides by d squared basta ha? Kaya na wrong si ma'am. D squared ay, pangit ang gapon. Erase pa niyo. Over m. Okay, tanawan ninyo. Anong d squared over m? Kaya para makancel out ko ng d squared, o makancel out ko na ko ng m, nakatapad ng k. Dapat ana ha? Kaya ang akong gusto si k na lang nabilin. So, na ako d squared over m. I hope na gets na. Kay d squared over m akong multiply po ko the same nga d squared over m. So, I have here, kinsay nabilin sa pikas na ako k. K is equal to d squared times f, that is d squared f over m. Again, katong naa sa denominator mo to imong i-times sa numerator o ibutang sa numerator, katong katapad ni k mo to imong ibutang sa denominator. Kaya para opposite sila, i-cancel out ra na sila. No, si d squared nasa denominator, sa pikas nasa numerator, so cancel out. Si m nga nasa numerator, napoy m sa denominator, cancel out. So, kung saan i-times diri mo, i-times dito, o i-times na dahil na siya, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Kaya namatay f, ug namatay imaginary 1, dira ang denominator. So, d squared times f, that is d squared f, n times the imaginary 1 here. So, n times 1, that is 1. So, natay k, ako rin lang i-write, pwede ko na siya baliktaron. K is just equal to d squared f over n. Now, balik na ta sa information. Kung nadaw tay 8 nga kilograms nga mass, ang distance is 5 kilometers, ang force is 100 newtons, pila tong K. Okay? Kaya mo man complete na question, complete na information, so solve sa nato si K equals pila tong D, that is 5. Remember that si D naka-square, so dapat ino pong i-square si D diri So naatay 5 na D i-square na to siya. Tapos, si F, bilang na itong F, naatay F na 100 over, ang sa nag-over na si M. Bilang na itong M, naatay 8 kilograms. So, by solving it, naatay equals 5 squared, that is, ito lang na, 5 squared, that is 25 times 100. Nagain na din sa nilata na niya over 8. No, so multiplying, we have 2,500 over 8. Tama ba? 25 times 100, that is 2,500. Divide by 8, that gives us 312.5. Magamit ang pa-decimal kay exact nang gyapon siya nga 312.5. Unless kung kuan siya, kanang dili siya terminating, dili ta magamit og decimal ha, kung naa pa sumpay si 5 to infinity, kanang di siya mahuman nga points, no? So, fraction na itong gamitan na, okay? So, human naman ta, nakakita na sa scale, balik ta, ani nga rule, kaning nga rule, ato lang siya gi-cancel out. So, remember that F is equal to, balik ta sa original na tanong nga, Km over d squared. Mating pinakauna na ito gikuan. Kung naglibog mo, pwede rin ninyo i-rewind by term ana yan. I-rewind sa katunga part na naatay mani ato ang mathematical sentence. Ang force F varies directly as K times M and inversely as the square of D. No? So, pila daw ang atong F when M equals 2, so F magipagipangita, so wata kabalo sa F. We know that our K is 312.5. Pila tong M? Natay M na 2. And then, pila tong D? Natay 15. Ang D na to kay naka-square, it square pud ni si 15. Okay? So, F is equal to, can you please calculate this one for me? So, that is, pila man na? 312.5 times meter mass and into 625. So, we have 625 divided 15. Okay. So, magamit na ani o fraction lang. Is it 312.5 times 2? 312.5 times 2, that gives us 625. 625 over, pila tong 15 squared? 15 times 15. That gives us, pila? 225. Kung i-divide ko man guro ni, 6 to 5 divide 2 to 5, it's non-terminating values, no? Taas kay na siya. Dili kay na siya ma-represent as kanang decimal points nga exact decimal points. So we're going to make use of its fraction form. Kaso, malowest term pa ni, pila ka akong i-divide both sides. I-try na to divide of 25 both sides. Ma-divide pa? Yeah. So we can have 25 divide sub na sa dili ang 25. Ayan yung mag-lowest term, no? So na-apoy 625 divide 25 and that gives us pila? 25. Now over 225 divide 25 and that gives us 9. And I think di na ni ma-reduce yung 25 over 9. For 9, only 3 and 25 is not divisible by 3. Tama ba? Yes. So therefore, we have the final answer which is equal to 25 over 9. Okay, na wrong. Nakakalisod basta walay 10. 25 over 9. Thank you. So, question? Wala question? So, I think that's it. No? So, I hope na may na-learn and ma-follow ang ako ang ihatag na sample question, sample activity for this. Thank you for listening and God bless.